What's going on, everybody? You're tuned in to Off the Yard, yet another episode. And today, we're talking about how to boss up in the penitentiary, man. Let's get after it. Man, oh man. Woo! It was a hot one today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad you tuned in. Maybe you're eating dinner. Maybe you're just getting home. I don't know. But I'm glad you tuned in. I'm glad you're here with us, man. Today we're talking about how you boss up in the penitentiary, man. How do you go from regular inmate to elevating yourself to a boss? There's a lot of different ways. Man. Now, we've seen videos on what's the hustle. You got videos about dudes they call Hustle Man. Now, Hustle Man is an individual that, hey, he's going to take the old jeans that he buys or the old Timbs, he's going to polish them up, sell them at a profit. Or he's going to catch guys going home and he's going to get all their shit. He's going to sell it on the yard after they leave. Now, yeah, it's a good way to make a living. It's a good way to, survive. But is that really being a boss? It's not being a boss, man. When I talk about bossing up, I'm talking about leveling up all the way, man, to the top of the food chain. And when I've heard people say that you had to be in a gang to survive prison. You have to do this, You don't. I know guys that were not in a gang. Many guys that weren't in a gang that I consider a true boss, man. And dudes that would have a hustler's mentality, but a boss state of mind. And what that means is they would hustle, but it always had a higher purpose. You know what I'm saying? So I might have, say I get $200 in it. I could take $200, buy a bunch of food and cosmetics or whatever. I can start myself a store box. And we've all heard about what the store box is. It's 2 for 1, 3 for 5, so on and so forth. Now, when you're doing a store box, man, there's a little bit of risk involved. Because what I would do, I would never put out what I couldn't afford to put back in myself. So if a dude came to me and said, yo, I need $20 worth of stuff. Man, I need $20, I'm going to need 30 back. Now, can I afford to take that 30 as a loss right now? Maybe not. And if I can't, then I can't do it for you. I just keep on nickel and diming. But the store box is a nickel and dime thing in the beginning. As you get, bigger and bigger, you will make more of a profit. Here's the problem with that is that it's one of those things where people can drop a dime on you real fast. And if they drop a dime on you and the boys come in and they run down on you, not only do you lose everything in your box because you ain't got a receipt for it, but you will also lose whatever's owed to you on that side of the yard because you're probably going to get moved. Or maybe even shipped if they catch you enough times. So the difference between a hustle man and a boss mentality is you're always using one hustle to elevate to a bigger hustle, to elevate to a bigger one, to elevate to many. The biggest money-making commodity I ever had, well, I'll say two. The biggest two was one, wine. Wine was one of the biggest money-making. I would have my guys in every dorm, every pod, making wine. And the reason being, everybody likes to drink, man. Everybody likes to catch one. So once we learned also how to actually make clear, we were taking this wine, cooking wine off, right? Taking the wine and cooking that off and actually creating a makeshift still out of like a saltwater steamer into a peanut butter jar. And that shit would drip, 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 and it'd be pure alcohol. You could light it blue. And the problem with that, though, is that you really, out of a full bag of wine, you might get 1 to 1.5 peanut butter jars, and you're only getting $50 to $75, depending on the institution you're at, for a peanut butter jar full of clear. Okay, so that's one. But if you're just making wine, boom, 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 you can hustle that wine off. And there's a lot of risk involved in that too, because they can smell it, and if you burp it at the wrong times, then you can get the smell out. The funniest thing that ever happened to me when I was making wine, this is my first bid. This is back when I was like 19 years old. I was in the old county jail and Rappahannock Regional Jail. It was old bars, and they call it Dead Man's Curve. It was on this bad curve on Lafayette Boulevard down there, man. It was the first time, excuse the dirt, man, I just got off work. It was the first time I'd ever been into jail 1997, 1998. Anyway, we were making wine in these soda bottles, right? Well, when you make wine, it ferments and it starts to expand. And if you don't burp it, it'll bust. So one night we went to bed. I had about 10 bottles of fruit, and they were all cooking hard with the sugar, man. Had everything in there, yeast. I forgot to burp it when I went to bed. I fell asleep, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, man, I heard it. Psst, boom, man. It was like a domino effect. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing I know, my whole cell is full of fucking wine, man. I was like, I don't even know what to do right now. I just stood there waiting for the cops to come. I knew I was hit. They came in there, looked at me like, look at this little dumb son of a bitch right here. I didn't get charged for it, man. They just gave me a mop, gave me some clean shit, told me to clean it up and get it out there. They were pretty cool about the whole situation, probably because it was that funny. Now, I got older. I started learning how to run tickets, right? Running tickets was probably the second biggest, besides some, other stuff that illegally, that I don't want to talk about, but running tickets, parlays, race tickets, people will gamble on anything. There could be a tennis match on TV and I could get people to gamble on it. So the parlay was probably the biggest money-making thing that I did. And I could run it through different buildings. I could run it through different institutions, actually through phone calls and, such and such, and just take a cut later on. Now, that elevated like my status as far as a hustle man, starting out with little bits of commissary, 2 for 1 in, or old, gear or shoes and shit like that, trying to just make a couple packs of tuna and a couple packs of coffee. It elevated me, man, all the way up to everybody knows who you are on the compound because you're constantly running tickets. Now, when you run tickets, it's a lot of work, a lot of fucking work. Because when you got one guy that I used to have that really knew the statistics of things, and he would write down the highs and lows and all that stuff, man. And then I'm out on the yard passing out tickets, writing it down, who owes what. The only downside of that is that every once in a while, somebody will hit your ass. You have to have enough in a kitty to pay that dude back. Because, I've had people hit for $500 before. So, there's always going to be a certain, risk and reward thing. You know what I mean? So, that, whether you're doing it legal or illegal. When I'm going to the visitation room at one time where I had a roller, the guard, bringing in the dope, there's a lot of risk in that. There's extra time in that. But you have to remember that prison is a small city. It's like its own society. And there are always going to be certain hustles. There's always going to be ways that you can make money. There's always going to be a way that you can 2 for 1 somebody. There's always going to be a way that you can get over. It all depends on what type of hustle you got. It all depends on who you are. When you wake up in the morning, do you want to starve today? Do you want to not have any coffee today? Do you want to walk around in just prison shit? Do you want to walk around busted up boots? It's up to you. Just like it is up to you out here. When you're out here in the world, man, it's up to you. You can either be successful and be a boss and level up, and everything you should do should be about leveling up. Or you can just be mundane and just go through life. It's up to you what you want to do. It isn't up to me. I can sit and tell you everything in the world that we do, give you all the tips and all the jewels in the world, but it's going to be up to you or whoever it is to be the individual that wants to rise above typical success. All that being said, man, that's how you boss up in the penitentiary, man. You get your weight up. I want y'all to see, this is one of the new Blue Collar King shirts. There's a bunch of different designs. These are just the ones I got in the mail. Go check out Grassroots T-shirt and attire and apparel company on Instagram. I have it linked in one of these stories. Go check it out on the community board. And much love to the Blue Collar Kings. Much love, Sucker Free Nation. Glad to hear the gang. 2 L's in a bulletproof farm, man. Thanks for tuning in, man. Hope this was a good video for you to watch this afternoon, man. This is Big Lance, and it's a hot one outside. I'm going to get back to work, man. Much love, y'all. Have a good day.